Day 19. Day 19 is about the quantum leap. And I used to watch this show when I was a kid, Quantum Leap. I never really understood what quantum leaps were about. So let's talk about what is a quantum leap first. And so we can understand the terminology and just the definition of a quantum leap is to go from, you know what, let me look up the official definition. Hold on. Okay, so the quantum leap, which is also called the quantum jump, is it has a scientific meaning. So it means the abrupt, discontinuous transition of a quantum system from one discrete energy state to another. Okay, so that's, if you don't know science, this is going to be very hard and abstract. But if you think about things that do not move smoothly between levels, they just instantaneously jump from one level to another. That's what happens in a quantum leap. And so in everyday language, it just means a sudden, dramatic, significant change. And I think another word is a breakthrough. I think that's probably the closest word that we can relate to. And so today is about quantum leaping. And a quantum leap is not primarily something you see on the outside. The reason why it's day 20 is because the quantum leap is internal. It's identity based. And what we see in our lives is these quantum leaps happen the moment that we stop trying to improve our old self and start operating from a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of belief, a higher level of alignment, and a higher level of spiritual awareness. And just stay with me for a moment, because I know we started off really abstract, but just stay with me, because I think this is why Jesus connects the kingdom of God to children. Because children, they embody those traits required for a quantum leap. Think about it. Who else as an adult is going to trust without understanding? What adult is going to move consistently without certainty, fearlessly, resilient, who fails time and time again but keeps going? Resilience. What adult has the imagination of a kid? How many of us? Without limitation. What adult has an identity that has not yet been defined and imprisoned by conditioning? And what adult has the faith that they see somebody else doing something and they know that it's possible for them? And so today we got to understand that our next level is not going to come from perfecting or improving your current identity. It's going to come from surrendering it, killing it off. That identity is not going to serve you. The quantum leap is not doing more. It's being more. It's becoming different. Think about it, right? Let's go back to a child. The first thing a child learns to do, that's the quantum leap, is crawl. And they don't master crawling by laying on their back. Okay? It's a whole different technique. Now, once they crawl, they got to learn to walk. But no matter how good you crawl, no matter how fast you crawl, it's not going to make you walk. You got to abandon crawling completely. That child has to stop crawling to begin walking. And so that's an abandonment. It's a surrender of the crawl to begin the walk. The crawling techniques don't help you walk better. Yes, they help with your coordination. They assist you and they're good for the next level. But you have to abandon that. And in the same way, the fearful version of you can't create the life that you want without surrendering that part. The survival version of you, the distracted version of you, the conditioned version of you. You can't access imagination. You can't carry vision. You can't build a kingdom if you don't surrender that old identity. And Jesus even said it in Matthew 18. Unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. And notice, the kingdom of heaven is not achieved through effort and striving. It's achieved through transformation. Think about that. Unless you become like a child, you won't enter. You don't have a chance. And the child goes in because the child still believes. And his belief shapes his action or her action. And the adult stays stuck because experience has taught them their actions. And they've experienced fear, limitation, hesitation, over-analysis. Should I do this? Should I do that? Just go for it. Shame. But remember, the kingdom of heaven is our goal. And heaven operates way differently than we do. The kingdom belongs to those who are like a child. It belongs to those who believe before seeing, like a child, who move before certainty, like a child, who trust the process, like a child, who fall without quitting, who imagine beyond reason. How many times have you imagined something and somebody told you that's silly and you abandoned it? That's the quantum leap. The opposite of quantum leap is linear leaps, linear growth. And that doesn't lead to identity transformation. Identity transformation is going from 0 to 1, and then from 1 to 3, 3 to 10. So when you transform your identity, you're not becoming something better. You're becoming something new. And the deeper revelation is the kingdom of heaven is not just a place you go when you die, okay? We've talked about this in our other group. If it was, Jesus would have said so. The kingdom of heaven is within you. It's something you experience now. You have to learn how to operate from that reality today. And what does that mean? It means heaven already has the blueprint, and we just got to follow it and bring it to earth. Our assignment is to bring heaven into earthly form. So when we build what we see in heaven and make it here on earth as it is in heaven. That's why we create. That's why we lead. That's why we transform. Kingdom builders are not just chasing money or success. We're building earthly manifestations of heavenly realities. I'm going to repeat that. Kingdom builders are not here just to chase money or to chase success. We look at what's being done in heaven and we do it on earth. So what's being done in heaven, you might ask? Excellence. Bring that to earth where there's disorder. What's being done on heaven? Peace. Are you having peace in your business? Is there peace in your marriage? Is there peace in your relationships? Is there peace wherever you go? Leadership. Healing. Heaven is a place of perfection. So that means wherever you go, are you bringing that with you? Are you bringing courage where there's fear? The quantum leap happens when you stop asking questions that are based on survival. How do I get through this? How do I do this? Change the questions like we talked about yesterday and start asking better questions. How do I align with what heaven has already said is possible? And how do I know that heaven said it's possible? Because God told me. If you can think it, if you can dream it, it's possible. If it's been revealed to you, it is possible. A child falls so many times when they learn how to walk. I look at my daughter when she was learning and she would fall and she'd get back up. She never said to herself, I just can't walk. And one day she just started walking. And to me, that was profound because I look at adults and we fail once and then we start to question our identity. We start to question, maybe this wasn't meant for me. Maybe I'm not good enough. But the child fails and they keep moving because they are connected to possibility and not limitation. They know if this other person can walk, so can I. And that's why we never reach the next dimension, because we become too adult-like instead of too childlike. We become too logical. We become too wounded from our past experiences. We fall down and we focus on the wound instead of the promise. And that leads to conditioning. But think about all the stuff that we read about in this Bible. Every major move, it required a quantum leap. Abraham, before he changed his name, he had to leave his home. That's a big move. Moses had to confront Pharaoh. David, when he faced Goliath, these are big moves. None of them were incremental improvements. They were identity shifts. And so when we look at failure, falling, that's not the real enemy. Being stuck, being comfortable is the real enemy. Because when that child falls, he didn't look at the floor as, oh, this is it, I'm doomed. This is my final destination. And when you look at your life, look at our lives, our current identity is not our final destination. Some of us are still trying to perfect crawling when heaven is calling us to stand, to walk. We're trying to optimize old systems, old beliefs, old habits, old identities that they were meant for another season, and that season is gone and you're still living there. The quantum leap is going to require you to surrender that old thinking, the old version, and you have to become, that old version of you has to become so small for the vision that God placed inside of you. And I look at my life and I encounter this just about every day. I mean, right now we are managing a lot of people and we're hiring more. And sometimes I get concerned, like, can we do this? Can we afford it? But that's not the right question. I was the same person who had a big, bold vision of what I wanted to do. And it has nothing to do with hiring a bunch of people. We can do this with 2 people, 3 people. You can do this with 1 person. But is the old you still thriving, still surviving? Stop trying to perfect that old you. Some systems, some habits, some environments, and some mindsets do not need optimization. They need burial. They need to be killed. We have to reconnect with what it means to be childlike again. Dream again, imagine again, create again, believe again. Connect with that version of you that knows no limitations. And let's redefine what failing means. I heard Thomas Edison said is it Thomas Edison or Benjamin Franklin? They failed so many times according to people, but in their minds, they just were finding different ways to get to the problem. Let's normalize this thing called falling. Failure is just feedback. And the child never looks at falling as permanent. They never look at falling as I'm doomed, I can't do it again. And we got to start moving. Not when we feel ready, not when we think the time is right. Move when God has instructed you to move. Because remember, once you start moving, that momentum that you create, it leads to clarity. You start moving and eventually it's going to start to become clear. And lastly, before we go today, let's not forget to build it as it is in heaven. In every area of my life, I need to be asking, what would this look like if heaven designed it? What would my marriage look like if heaven designed it? What would my business look like if heaven designed it? What would my car look like if heaven designed it? What would my relationship with my kids look like if heaven designed it? What would my bank account look like if heaven designed it? The quantum leap is not about speed. It's not about how fast you go. It's about transformation. It's the moment your internal world changes so deeply that your external reality has no choice but to catch up, has no choice but to also change. The kingdom is already within you. God has already put that kingdom in you, just like the apple is already within the seed. Our job is not to force it to grow. Our job is to surrender enough to become who God already intended. You were never meant to live on the floor still crawling. You weren't meant to roll on your back. We were meant to rise, to walk, to run. And that's who God created us to be. So today, Look for your quantum leap. Take that first step.